Every year, 1 million people apply to McKinsey. They hire 2,000. You are one of them. You do not feel special. You feel observed. Level 1. The Business Analyst. You are 22 years old. Base salary $112,000. You solved 3 case interviews across 4 rounds. The last round was with a partner who asked you a question about a steel company in Brazil that had nothing to do with steel or Brazil. It had to do with how you think when you do not have enough information. You structured your answer in 90 seconds. He wrote one word in his notebook. You never saw what it was. Your first engagement is a cost transformation for a $14 billion consumer goods company. Your team is 4 people. 4 people telling a $14 billion company how to restructure its operations. You think about this on the flight to Cincinnati. You do not say it out loud. Your job is the analysis. You interview the client's middle managers, people who have been at this company for 20 years, and you ask them questions about their operations with the confidence of someone who has studied this industry for 6 weeks. Some of them look at you the way a tenured professor looks at a first year student who has raised their hand too quickly. You learn to ask questions differently, not with less confidence, with more precision. You are on site at the client Monday through Thursday. You fly home Friday morning. You fly back Sunday night. The hotel is a Marriott near the client's headquarters. The front desk staff know your name. You do not know theirs yet. You learn them in week 6. Their names are Patricia and Marcus. You add this to the list of things that took longer than it should have. Your engagement manager reviews your first deliverable at 11 at night. She sends it back with 23 comments, not corrections, comments. There is a difference. Corrections tell you what is wrong. Comments ask you to think again. You work until 2 in the morning. She responds at 6:30 a.m. 4 words. Much better. Keep going. Every slide has one message. The message is in the title. If you cannot state the message of your slide in one sentence, you do not understand your slide yet. You rewrite the title of the same slide 7 times in one evening. On the 7th version, your engagement manager reads it and says nothing. That means it is right. You spend 74 nights in hotels you did not choose. You accumulate a specific kind of exhaustion that is not tiredness. It is the exhaustion of constant performance, of being watched, of knowing that every meeting, every slide, every question you ask is being evaluated by someone who will write something in a notebook you will never see. Level 2, the associate. You are 26 years old. McKinsey offered you an early promotion based on performance. This happens to approximately 10% of business analysts. You did not celebrate. You asked your engagement manager what it meant. She said it meant you were ready to own the work. Base salary $183,000. Total compensation $183,000 to $270,000. You own the work stream now. You are responsible for the analysis, the synthesis, the client communication, and the junior team member who is doing what you were doing 6 months ago. You catch yourself writing the same kind of feedback at 11 at night that you once received. Your engagement is a market entry strategy for a private equity firm evaluating an acquisition in Southeast Asia. You have never been to Southeast Asia. You have 3 weeks to become sufficiently expert that a partner can put you in front of the client without apologizing. The PE partner across the table is 47 years old and has closed $3 billion in transactions. He asks a question in week 4 that reveals a gap in your market sizing. Not a small gap, a structural assumption that changes the investment thesis materially. You do not know the answer. You say you do not know the answer. You say you will have it by end of day. He nods once. The meeting continues. You have the answer by 4 p.m. It does not change the thesis. You send a 1-page summary. He responds in 11 minutes. Good work. You have received these 2 words before. They land differently from different people. From him, they land like a grade. Level 3, the engagement manager. You are 29 years old. You have an MBA from Wharton, $185,000 in loans. You return to McKinsey at the engagement manager level. McKinsey interviews returning MBAs the same way it interviews external candidates. You prepared for 2 weeks. You were nervous in a way you had not been nervous since your first case interview. Base salary $220,000. Total compensation between $350,000 and $500,000. You run engagements now. You deliver the answer to the CEO. Your client CEO is a woman named Helen who has been running this company for 6 years. She reads every slide before the meeting. She arrives already having formed a view. Your job is not to present information. Your job is to have a conversation with someone who already knows the information and is deciding whether she trusts your judgment about what it means. You present final recommendations in a boardroom with 14 people. The deck is 62 slides. Helen asks 7 questions. You answer 6 directly. The seventh, you say the analysis does not fully support a definitive answer yet, but here is your best current view and here is what would change it. Helen nods once. She says she appreciates the honesty. Helen sends a note to your partner. 3 sentences. The third says she would request you specifically on the next engagement. Your partner forwards it to you with no comment. No comment from your partner means the comment is the forwarding. Level 4, the associate partner. You are 33 years old. Base salary $280,000. Total compensation between $500,000 and $900,000. You sell now, not exclusively, but meaningfully. You bring in your first solo engagement, a $2.3 million digital strategy for a specialty retailer whose CEO you have been having dinner with twice a year for 3 years. The dinners were never about a proposal. They were about the industry, about his business, about a problem he mentioned once that you spent 2 weeks thinking about and came back to 6 months later with 3 observations that were not solicited and were exactly right. The proposal came from him. You have a daughter who is 4. She calls your hotel room when you are on client site and asks when you are coming home. You tell her Thursday. She asks which Thursday. You pause. You say this Thursday. When it is not true, you correct it when you land and call from the car. She has heard this before. Children of consultants hear this before they have a word for it. If you have made it this far, you are exactly who this channel is for. A subscribe helps me keep making these. No pressure, but I would appreciate it. Level 5, the partner. You are 38 years old. You made partner. One in perhaps 25 associates who started at your level has reached this title. The others went to private equity, to corporate roles, to startups, to lives that are measurably less demanding. You stayed. You are not sure if staying was a choice or a condition. You stopped examining the distinction around year 9. Total compensation last year, $1.8 million. The year before, $2.3 million. You own client relationships now, not accounts, relationships. There is a difference. An account is a revenue line. A relationship is a person who calls you on a Sunday afternoon because something is happening at their company and they want to think out loud with someone they trust before they call their board. You have 4 of these. Building one takes between 3 and 7 years. Your son is 9. He asked you what you actually do all day. You said you help companies solve problems. He said that sounded easy. You said some problems are harder than they look. He said which ones? You said the ones where the people inside the problem are too close to it to see it clearly. He said, so you are the outside person. You said yes. He said, does it work? You said sometimes. He laughed. It was the most accurate description of consulting you have ever heard. It came from a 9-year-old at a dinner table. Level 6, the senior partner. You are 46 years old. You have been at McKinsey for 24 years. What has not changed is the nature of the problem McKinsey exists to solve. Senior leadership of large organizations is lonely in a specific way. The people around you are invested in the answer before you have found it. McKinsey exists to be the one room where the question can be asked honestly before the answer is required. You have been that room for 24 years. Total compensation last year, $4.2 million. You have advised 14 CEOs. 2 of them call you personally when something significant is happening. Not to engage McKinsey, just to think out loud. These calls happen on weekends. They are not billed. They are the product of relationships that took a decade to build. They are also the reason McKinsey will be called when the next engagement begins. Your 17-year-old is applying to universities. She asked which one you think she should choose. You asked her where she felt most like herself when she visited. She said that was not the kind of answer she was looking for. You said you knew. She said you always say that. You said because it is always true. She laughed. You thought about it for the rest of the week. Not the university, the question underneath it, whether she felt like herself, whether you still know what that means for you. There is someone this entire practice depends on who has never heard of you. He is 44 years old. He is the incoming CEO of a $28 billion consumer goods company. He has not decided whether to engage McKinsey. You will meet him at a conference in 3 weeks. You will have 12 minutes, not a pitch, a conversation. You know what questions are keeping him up at night because you have seen this transition before, 7 times in 4 industries. You know how to ask the question in a way that makes him feel like he thought of it. The 12 minutes will determine whether the next engagement begins. He does not know you exist yet. Right now, a 22-year-old is sitting in a case interview. The partner across from her has asked a question about a steel company in Brazil. It has nothing to do with steel or Brazil. She is structuring her answer. She has 90 seconds. The partner is writing something in his notebook. She will never see what it is. She will get the offer. She will feel observed. McKinsey does not stop. It just finds new analysts.